Hey, what's up guys, ShayRSynergy in the vicinity, and today I have watched Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie, and I will be giving a review on what I thought about the movie and every aspect of it. Before we get started, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the channel post notification bell, and by the way, there will be spoilers ahead. I'm just going to go over the entire movie. There's a lot of spoilers because I don't want to hold back any of my thoughts for another video. I want to get this review done and out of the way. So, one of the first things I want to go over is the cast of the movie, which I'm really impressed with. I didn't think I was going to be this impressed with a few of the characters and their castings, but I was. And starting with the first one, Ben Schwartz as Sonic himself. In the first movie, I really wasn't a fan of Ben Schwartz as Sonic. I mean, he was okay. I'm not saying he was bad. He was bearable, but he wasn't. You'd expect Sonic to be a highlight in a Sonic movie, and in the first movie, he just wasn't for me. And I don't know what happened in the second movie. Maybe it was like a voice direction, or he probably got more used to the voice, or maybe I got more used to the voice. But I actually enjoyed his performance as Sonic in this second movie, which was something I wasn't expecting. In the trailer, like for the Sonic movie 2, it was, I don't know, I had no thoughts on it, but when I was watching the movie, I was like, man, I'm really enjoying seeing Sonic up on the screen. When I really walked in to expect to enjoy Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman the most, I enjoyed Sonic, and he was up there with them for me. So I'm really glad Ben Schwartz, his voice as Sonic is getting better, and maybe it'll get even better in the third movie, who knows. The next person is Colleen O'Shaughnessy as Tails. Obviously, do I even have to go through this? Like, we know she's, like, perfect as Tails. We've had her for over a decade in the games. Now we're having her in the movie. And it felt great because everything, in the movies, it's all different casts. But her being there was, like, you kind of feel reminiscent of the games on another level. Like, it's not a reference, it's just straight up from the games. Like, it's just actually from the games. And what I liked about this Tails was that he wasn't, like, scared, like the way Tails has been for the last, decade now. Like, obviously Tails has a little bit of, like, a cowardice in him, but he wasn't over the top terrified of everything like he was in Sonic Forces. His backstory was also pretty good. I actually enjoyed his. I'm really glad what they did with his backstory. It was similar to his backstory in Sonic X. In Sonic X, what happened was people made fun of him for the machines and gadgets he would make. Rather here, they made fun of him for having an extra tail, which is, obviously it's different, a machine versus having an extra tail, but it follows the same footsteps of the origins of, Tails. People making fun of him, and now he finds Sonic, and now they're best friends, and it causes him to become an even better person. He's more brave, and that's exactly what happened here. And Tails' gadgets were actually pretty cool. They did really good with all the gadgets he had. It felt like really something Tails would do in a 2000 Sonic game, and I'm really glad with the direction they took with Tails, and I'm assuming it's going to get even better in the third movie. Idris Elba as Knuckles is one of the greatest things that has happened to the Sonic universe in so long. Obviously, my favorite Knuckles voice is Dan Green, but now Idris Elba is up there with him, and it's pretty cool because I really like this whole warrior, heavy warrior take on Knuckles. He's always been a warrior, but this time they go even deeper into his backstory lore, and you could tell that the backstory is what caused him to become the warrior he is today. The games don't really go on that much anymore, at all actually, but they did here, and it's obvious in the Knuckles series that's coming up in 2023. They're going to continue with that. After watching this movie, I'm actually really curious to see what the Knuckles series is. Is it a prequel? Are we going through his childhood and how he became the warrior he is today? Or is it an entirely new adventure? I'm hoping it's an entirely new adventure, but they also touch on his backstory, because if it's an entirely new adventure, I am assuming they're going to put the Chaotix in it. I don't know if you guys have seen the IDW comic for the Sonic movie 2, but the Chaotix do make an appearance, and they do look like their classic selves, and that makes me really happy because that means they are coming to the Sonic cinematic universe relatively soon. Jim Carrey as Eggman. Look, I really love Jim Carrey as Eggman. Obviously, he's no Mike Pollock. Mike Pollock is amazing, and there's a part of me that still wishes he was Eggman in the live-action movies. But it could still happen, actually. There was a line towards the end of the movie where Eggman mentions the multiverse, and my head goes, oh, shoot. This kind of means they could do something with the multiverse at some point. And if that's the case, if that ever happens, and they need multiple Eggmans, please, Paramount, bring Mike Pollock as Dr. Eggman. It would be such a dream come true to see Mike Pollock in live action. Give him the mustache, give him everything. He would be so good as Eggman. He already is with the voice. Now imagine hearing that voice and seeing the face look identical to Eggman in the games. That's what we really need. But overall, I did enjoy Jim Carrey. Was he funnier in this movie? I mean, to an extent, there was this one part that kind of made me cringe a little, where he does the floss. He says something like, if you don't know the floss, you're gonna get lost. It was weird. I mean, it was funny in the sense that I couldn't believe they did that. I guess that's what makes it funny. But it was overall like cringe. I was like, they could have just left that out the script. They could have just left it out the script. And I'm hoping that wasn't Jim Carrey was going off the script. I mean, if it had to happen, I'd hope it wasn't the script, not something Jim Carrey himself thought of. Because I don't know. That was just a really cringe joke, but it was only a second. I got over it quick, but I still thought I'd mention it because why? They had no reason to do that at all. I also enjoyed the human characters this time around. I mean, in the first movie, Tom the Cop was okay. He had some good moments. I mean, I guess I'm a little biased because James Marsden is playing Tom the Cop. I'm a Marvel fan. He used to be Cyclops. I really loved, even though they didn't give Cyclops much of a role in the old X-Men movies, but I was a fan of Cyclops. I was really hoping Cyclops would be in the upcoming Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and he might be, but James Marsden said he wasn't, and I was like, man, this kind of sucks. But maybe that's why I enjoy James Marsden a lot on screen, because every time I see him, I'm like, oh shoot, it's Cyclops from the X-Men. But he did good as Tom the Cop in this movie. They had more of a family role. I don't know why, but every time they had a lot of talk about being a family, especially towards the end. It just made me think of Vin Diesel, which was funny, so I'll give him that. I don't know if that was the intention. Some of those family lines just made me think that Dom would just show up and start talking about family, but that unfortunately did not happen. I can confirm that Dom from Fast and the Furious, played by Vin Diesel, does not appear in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, despite of all the family talks they've had. But overall, yeah, Tom the Cop was he was pretty cool. I liked him in this movie. His wife Maddie had a pretty good role, actually. I did not expect that. She had some of Tails' gadgets, and I think this was the best way for them to utilize the humans, even though the humans weren't in much of the movie, which is something I really preferred. Compared to the first one, the humans were in, I'd say, not too much, but they were in a heavy chunk of the movie, and I'm really glad they put them aside in this movie to put the light on the three main characters and Dr. Eggman being the only human that was really focused on. But they did balance it really good, which is something I did not expect. And the whole wedding situation with Maddie's sister, I did not expect them to be G.U.N. or Gun. That was a good little twist right there. That was a little fun, and that was the perfect way to combine plot A, which was Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and Eggman, and plot B being Tom and Maddie being in Hawaii. And it was such a good and clever way for them to combine these two stories. I did not expect that to happen at all. I'm really glad it went that way, because that was actually kind of fun, because I was genuinely enjoying the Hawaii scenes. But then they all came together, and it was awesome. It balanced perfectly. And I'm really happy to say that, because I did not expect the human, all the human-y plots going on, to combine well with the Sonic storylines. And they did, and it was perfect, and it makes me really excited for the future. Now, as for the story, lots of people are saying it's the best Sonic story since Adventure 2. I wouldn't really say that, but it's definitely up there. It is up there. It's a really good Sonic story. When you go down the Sonic lore, it was pretty good. Obviously, they're not going to do the exact same lore as they did in the games, because that would be, I mean, you guys have to admit, that would be a little boring, because you'd expect the expected. And that just does not make the experience fun. This is a whole different universe. You gotta remember that. Like, think of it as like how Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man universe is different to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man universe, but they're essentially the same. And that's just the way you gotta see it. See, and here, one of the biggest changes I saw was that the Chaos Emeralds, rather than being separate from the Master Emerald, they live inside the Master Emerald. You know, in Sonic Adventure 2 and Adventure, when the Master Emerald breaks, they're just shards that Knuckles has to go collect and put them back together, which they are here too. But when it breaks in this movie, all 7 emeralds fall out of it. And I don't know what happened at the end. I'm a little confused on this part, so if someone knows the answer, just let me know in the comments. But when Knuckles put the Master Emerald back together, I did not see the Chaos Emeralds going back inside. So does this mean that once this Master Emerald has broken, that the Chaos Emeralds are now separate for the whole, like, for the remainder of time now? Was that, like, how the Chaos Emeralds were born? Did the Master Emerald have to get shattered once for the emeralds to now be separate from the Master Emerald? Or did when Knuckles fix the Master Emerald, did the emeralds go back inside of it? If you know the answer to this, let me know. Obviously, we already went over how Tails' story changed a little. The whole Long Claw thing, I think that's actually kind of brand new. So that was also a pretty cool lore change. And I'm trying to think of more and what happened. There's so much that happened in this movie. The bar scene was actually pretty funny. People didn't like the bar scene in the first movie, and I assume those same people didn't like it in the second movie. But at least this time, it was actually more fun. Like, I liked seeing Tails with Sonic. I liked all the Sonic and Tails moment. They had this really serious moment when Tails goes to sleep right after that. And it was like, it was sad. You know, like, it actually hit me for a second. I was like, this is actually kind of sad. But then Sonic woke up and it became a joke. I mean, it's what you expect from a comedy PG movie. But at least they showed that if they wanted to go a little more serious and deep, they could. They just choose not to, which I totally respect, because I could see that if they wanted to, they could. And maybe they will in the future. I'm assuming the Knuckles series is going to be deep and dark. Sonic 3, with that character who they teased at the end in the credits, that I'm about to go over in just a few minutes, I think Sonic 3 could be deep and dark. It could be the first PG-13 Sonic movie. With that character, they could do so much when it comes to darkness. I really liked Agent Stone in the movie. He's actually funnier than I remembered him to be in the first. Actually, no, he was pretty funny in the first movie, but he was even funnier in this one, and I really enjoyed that. The guy who plays him is also really cool. Like, he's like my second favorite human after Eggman himself. You know, like, he had a good plot. He had a good little plot going on where, you know, he really misses Dr. Eggman and is waiting for him, and he runs a little Mean Bean machine, like, coffee shop, which is called Mean Bean Machine, which is a reference, obviously. And it was funny to see him just be a normal barista, and then Eggman comes along and he says some code words. I think he said coffee with Austrian goat milk or something, and then the whole place turned into a lab. And one thing I noticed when it turned into a lab, it had Dr. Eggman's like original logo, like the ones you'd see in 06 or Unleashed. I believe it was in the first movie as well, but I don't really remember. And the fact that I didn't remember made me really surprised watching this in the second movie. And I was like, whoa, that's the actual Eggman logo. I don't know, it's pretty cool to see stuff like that. I want to go over Knuckles a little bit. He was really serious, and I really loved that. And there's lots of people complaining about, like, the 2 little jokes he had. And I don't see the issue with it. But I do understand why people were hesitant about it. Because in the last 10 years, they've also made Knuckles more of a joke. Like, rather than a full... I mean, I guess he was a little serious in Forces, but overall, a joke. And I guess he would throw jokes in, like, the mid-2000 games, even though he was, like, serious and everything. But since we've been so used to seeing Knuckles just be, like, a joke character, I guess we're, like, scared of anything that has to do with being funny and Knuckles. But the way they did in this movie was actually kind of perfect. Knuckles is gullible. He believes everything, like in Sonic X is the biggest example. He's really gullible. He'd believe anything. And he's new to Earth, so he's learning. Like, I really like the whole ice cream thing at the end of the movie when he asks what ice cream is, and then he's excited about having sprinkles. I mean, he's new to Earth. He really loves desserts. He loves grapes, which is pretty cool that they put that in from old, like, wasn't that in, like, the Sonic 3 manual or something? And he was really excited to have some sprinkles on his ice cream. And I don't see what's wrong with that. He's still a big, crazy warrior. He's awesome. He's dark. He's deep. Like, it's awesome. I don't mind if he wants some sprinkles on his ice cream. It does not take anything away from his character, other than he has this, like, sweet side to him, and he's pretty cool. I just don't see the issue with it. Lots of people are making an issue out of it, and that's kind of dumb. See, in the last 10 years, they've tried too hard to make Knuckles be, like, ironically funny. In this, he was unironically funny. He did not mean to be funny at the times he was being funny, and that's what makes it better. Because in the last 10 years, they're just forcing jokes on Knuckles, and for him to be a jokester, right? See, I don't mind it in Sonic Boom, because Sonic Boom is a whole different universe, and, you know, I think Knuckles was one of the highlights of, like, the TV show, Sonic Boom. I'm not talking about the game. I do not talk about that game at all. But the TV show, like, I kind of enjoyed it, but I kind of always missed him being, like, the Guardian of the Master Emerald, and a much more serious character. But in this, you know, he only had like 2 to 3 funny moments, and that's okay. I do not mind. I enjoyed those funny moments, and I think you should too. Now, the Death Egg robot was insane. I mean, obviously this movie had a little more money in the budget, but I did not expect the Death Egg robot to be that detailed and amazing looking. I did not have a problem with the CGI on the Death Egg robot at all. Obviously, it's a little different to the Death Egg robot from Sonic 2, but who really cares? Like, who actually cares? It's still awesome. It still looks like something Dr. Eggman in the games would build. And it was a really cool design. And I really like the thing where he could control it, like, as if it's like VR or something. You know, he moves his hand, the robot's hand moves. I thought that was pretty cool. And then seeing, like, the first time Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles team up together, and they're just throwing Sonic Hero vibes into it. You know, Sonic Heroes is one of my favorite games of all times, like, or one of my favorite Sonic games of all times, you know, up there. It's up there with, you know, 06, Unleashed, Adventure 1 and 2, and that, being a fan of Sonic Heroes, that was one of my highlights of the movie, to see the three of them team up, do some of their, like, power moves, like, you know, Tails throwing Sonic, and then Knuckles, like, using Sonic's spin dash, and it was like, that's the way to do it. And obviously they didn't do it a lot, so it's obviously a tease that they're gonna do it a lot more in the future. We're about to get a lot of Team Sonic coming up in this Sonic Cinematic Universe, and I really enjoy that. And another part I really enjoyed in this movie was the dynamic between Sonic and Knuckles once they start becoming friends. It all started at the temple after they had a battle, and Eggman kind of revealed himself, and then Knuckles realized that he got tricked by Dr. Eggman as usual, and Sonic falls into the water, and obviously we know Sonic can't swim. Well, he didn't fall in the water, he went down there to save Knuckles, who looks like he was about to die. And he saved Knuckles, and Knuckles just leaves, and Sonic can't get out of there because he can't swim. And he keeps trying and trying until he kind of gives up, and it looks like he's about to die. But then Knuckles comes back down and saves his new buddy, and that gave me chills, because now they're on the beach, they're having this deep talk, and they're throwing sand at each other. But they're having this really deep talk, and that, it gave me so many chills, and I'm so glad that that scene exists, because I know I'm going to watch that scene a lot, and I can't wait to watch this movie again. I'm probably going to go see it again soon, and then obviously when it's out on digital, I'll be seeing it. I'll see it a few times, but it was such a good scene, and I want more of scenes like that. I want more of that dynamic right there. They also had they had a little talk while they were battling on the snowy mountain, or aka Ice Cap, where Knuckles is kind of going into, like, his backstory, and then I think he was starting to trust Sonic there, but then Tails came in and kind of hurt Knuckles, and Knuckles was like, oh, it was all just a setup, and then he just went back to hating Sonic. Sonic's trying to, like, convince him that that was just not the case, it was a big misunderstanding. And then Eggman takes what did he take? Was that the compass? Yeah, it was the compass to the Master Emerald. And then Knuckles is watching Sonic, and Sonic, instead of getting the compass from Eggman, he goes and saves Tails instead, and that actually spoke to Knuckles a little. He was like, this guy really cares about his friends a lot. And I think right there he was like, oh shoot, maybe he was right. Maybe he was like, maybe it was all just a misunderstanding, because Sonic does not seem to be the type of guy to trick someone. He seems like a pretty good guy. Like, he's saving his friend. But still, he was still under like Eggman's like little trick, and he still fought him. But they still became friends, so I guess it's all okay. Now the last two things I want to go over are the most spoiler heavy thing ever. Okay, the first one is Super Sonic. Okay, my last video, which is my biggest video on this channel, so thank you guys so much for watching that one. It has 17,000 views. That is something I'm just not used to, and I've been so flabbergasted about it. It's been amazing just watching the views go up, and just thank you all so much for supporting the channel, and I hope the same just continues to happen, because out of it, I meet a lot of people too. Like, going through the comments, there's a lot of cool people. Obviously, I don't like become friends with all of them, but sometimes it'd be nice to. There's a lot of cool people, but then there's a lot of funny little trolls, but I kind of get a laugh out of it, so it's all good. But yeah, and that video, everything I said came true. I said in the third act, it looks like Super Sonic would be the one, and he was. And it was, even though I knew it was coming, well, I didn't know, no. I was like, going off my video, I was like, you know, it might just happen. It's likely to happen. But then seeing it, it was perfect. The way they did it. Obviously, I wish it could go longer, but I know it's still like a tease, because I know they're going to do it again in the next movie. They're going to do it again in a lot of upcoming projects, but they're going to make him even bigger. They'll have another character going super with Sonic. But the way they did it in this movie, the CGI on Super Sonic looked so amazing. It was exactly what I wanted. I kind of enjoyed the CGI of Super Sonic than Sonic himself. It was the little flame aura around him, or I couldn't even tell what that was. That like sparkles or flames or a mix of both? Whatever it was, they've done it perfectly with the red eyes, and you know, the music that was going gave me so many chills, because that's exactly what I thought would happen when we see Super Sonic for the first time. I always imagined it would be like a beautiful orchestra, like lots of things would be going wrong, and then Sonic would go super at the last minute, and it would just be such a beautiful, awesome moment, and that's exactly what it was. Tom, Maddie, and Sonic were about to get crushed by Dr. Eggman's new Death Egg robot, and then we see the Chaos Emeralds go inside of Sonic, and that's when I know, I was like, wait, is this actually happening? And it happened. The Emeralds go inside Sonic, and then Tails and Knuckles are sad because they're like, oh shoot, Sonic just died, and Tom and Maddie died too. But then Eggman is like, he's laughing, he's like, I finally got that hedgehog, which kind of reminded me of Sonic Unleashed in the opening, where Eggman like captures Sonic in the hands, and then he's like a little excited about it, and then the emeralds come out, and then you already know where it goes from there. We all know what the Sonic Unleashed opening CGI cutscene is. But anyways, Eggman is excited because, oh shoot, I just killed Sonic and I finally did it. But then he sees like, or the Death Egg robot starts shaking, and he's confused, and he looks down, and Sonic is holding the leg. He's Super Sonic, and he's holding the leg of the Death Egg robot, and it's such a heroic scene. It is one of my favorite scenes in any movie I've seen in 2022. It's that, and then Sonic just goes up there in the sky, and then he's having a conversation with Eggman, and that was just perfect, and he destroys the entire robot in classic Supersonic fashion, and I couldn't believe they pulled it off. I really like the scene after he's done being Supersonic, with Knuckles saying, that is not the same Sonic you guys once knew, but then it was obviously the same Sonic as soon as he got that chili dog out of the sky. Also, when that tornado showed up, because he was going, I guess that's the new thing that they'll have, like every time Sonic goes back to his normal form, a tornado will show up and absorb the Chaos Emeralds. What I thought would happen was, I thought the Chaos Emeralds would all go in a different direction, and then like if they ever need them again, they'll have to search for all 7 of them all over again. And I'm assuming they're still going to do that somehow. Eventually they'll find a way to make a plot revolve around searching for the 7 emeralds. But no, it was just a tornado and absorbed them. I don't know what happened to them next, but I'm sure we'll find out really soon. But then yeah, that was the Supersonic part, and that was insane. I really enjoyed that. And one other thing I really enjoyed was the ending. In the first movie, we see Sonic play baseball. He's playing by himself. You know, he's really fast, so he could play by himself and hit the ball, catch the ball, all at the same time or whatever. But in this movie, he has new friends. He has Tails and Knuckles. And there was something so poetic about that. In the first movie, he's playing with himself. Now he has Tails and Knuckles. He has Maddie and Tom. And then he calls, like, Tom his father, and it was like, whoa, that's sad. That's just deep. And I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that whole ending. It was bittersweet. Actually, no, it's more sweet than bitter. Actually, there was nothing bitter about it at all. It was actually a really happy ending. I guess it was just bitter because when you think back to the first movie, you know, he's playing baseball by himself and now he has friends, and that's that's sad but beautiful, you know? Okay, now the last thing I want to talk about is the post-credit scene. Project Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog is in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And the way the commander guy goes, God, Project Shadow. Like, that alone just shows me how big of a threat Shadow is. Like, we already know Shadow's a really dark character, and then seeing the fear in the commander going, oh my god, it's Project Shadow. Like, that's what my reaction was too. And, you know, when his eyes opened up, they went orange, and that's just the perfect way to introduce Shadow in a post-credit scene, right? But I only have one little flaw with Shadow. I don't know if it was, like, his face looked a little weird. He looked perfect, but something about his, like, cheeks, but that's like a little nitpick, so who really cares? And I'm sure they'll just do the same thing they did with Tails. You know, Tails looked a little different in the first post-credit scene in the first movie, then he looked a lot better in the second movie. Even though he looked good in the first one too, but he looked a lot better in this, and I'm sure the same thing will happen with Shadow. But overall, he looked perfect. Like that, I'm really excited to see Shadow. And if that's the case, I believe in the Knuckles series, we will see another character besides the Chaotix. You could see Amy, Cream, Rouge, because I'm assuming in Sonic movie 3 they will have Amy and Rouge, because obviously they're not going with the game lore, but I feel like they're trying to go as closely as possible with some different changes. But I'd hope they don't change Amy and Rouge. I mean, I'm sure they'll introduce them at some point, but it'd be cool to see one of them or both of them in the series. Even one of them, like if we see Amy in the Knuckles series, we could still get Rouge in Sonic movie 3, because we've seen with this movie they're able to do two characters, like two new additions to the Sonic universe, and like have them both fit in and explain their backstories. They could just do the same thing with Shadow and Rouge in Sonic 3. And if Shadow is here, it's crazy to think. Everyone thought it was Metal Sonic. I was saying it was Shadow. I knew since day one it would be Shadow. And here's my thing with it. They could still do Metal Sonic. I feel like they're gonna, if they're bringing the Chaotix, they're bringing Amy, they're bringing Rouge, Shadow. What if we're going down the Sonic Hero storyline, where Metal Sonic is like the Thanos, but it's Metal Overlord from Sonic Heroes? They could do something like that. And lots of people are still bummed out that they're not doing Sonic CD, which I'm kind of glad. I mean, what would we really see from the Sonic CD storyline? The only thing I could see is the Sonic and Metal Sonic race, and that's actually pretty much it. But if they do Sonic Heroes, or a Sonic Hero storyline, we could still get that Sonic versus Metal Sonic race, and then we could get a Metal Sonic Overlord, like, type final boss. But Shadow is here. Sonic 3 is going to be a ride, and I'm really excited for it. I'm expecting it to drop 2024. Obviously, we're going to have a series in 2023. We're definitely having a series in 2024, probably before the movie drops. And that is my review of Sonic movie 2. I give it an 8 out of 10. A solid 8 out of 10. The first movie, I kind of had like a 6 to a 6.5 out of 10, but this movie, 8 out of 10, and I hope that in the next movie, the ratings go even higher. And since they have the GOAT himself, Shadow the Hedgehog, it just might, especially if they're going down this dark storyline with him, with Maria. You know, I feel like they will. Because they're definitely wanting to do more darker stuff. I could tell with the second movie, they were like, let's amp up some of the darkness a little bit, not a lot. They still kept the movie PG, but it's clear that they're going a little higher, and in the next one they could really take the cake and they could do the Maria story. But that's all I have to say about the movie, and see you guys next time.